Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and our man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe, and today we're going to be talking about the crypto red squares.
Doom, right?
More doom.
We're back to the doom cycle.
Well, over the weekend,
I was going to say.
yeah, over the weekend it was nothing but green.
No, not over the weekend. Yesterday.
Yesterday. That's true.
I remember sending you the tweet.
It's like we're back on.
Bull market's back, and then like a giant green candle from like, what was it, on the rainbow chart? Bitcoin was like healthily in the blue sector again. Right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it dipped its toe in there. It was like, should we
like
be in
half
blue?
of its whole leg, basically.
Yeah.
And then pretty strong bounce once this tweet of a strategic reserve from Trump went out, right? Which was something we anticipated as a potential catalyst in the future, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if we anticipated the exact tweet because it included Ripple, Solana, and Cardano.
Yeah, we were thinking a Bitcoin reserve because I think that's what he promised during his campaign.
He promised a Bitcoin reserve, but in the tweets post that promise, he stopped mentioning Bitcoin and then started mentioning crypto reserve.
Interesting.
And so now,
I guess I never noticed that shift.
Yeah, everyone was speculating. Now all of a sudden, there's more crypto than Bitcoin. Like, are we? Yeah. I thought it was a Bitcoin reserve, not a crypto reserve.
Yeah, so I guess there's some sort of like underlying implications to that, right? Bitcoin strategic reserve, I think, signals a different messaging than like an umbrella crypto strategic reserve. I don't know exactly. I don't know if it's been like well discussed yet, what exactly, but from our perspective as us Bitcoin ecosystem participants and, diligent readers of things like software and stuff, right?
Yep.
DMT, manufacturers, you would say there's something of like an underlying value proposition when it comes to Bitcoin that separates it from most other digital assets, right?
Right.
So it's like a recognition of that would be, the United States going full in on like participating in this like global cyber war, amongst other nations competing for like their allocation of positioning within that.
Yeah, the understanding, I guess, from like the crypto natives was that the United States recognized the geopolitical importance of acquiring Bitcoin. Rather than just like having a digital reserve.
Yeah, because a lot of that stems to the proof of work mechanism itself, right?
Yeah.
Like the energy requirements to like, again, having that position of power within that cyber race, right? But yeah, that's now that the signal is it's just like multiple cryptos part of this reserve strategy, it kind of diminishes from that I guess market signal.
Yeah.
A bit. So it's like as things were like euphoric for a day, the next day,
here we are.
Here we are, dude.
It says, just in, total crypto market cap has experienced the second worst decrease ever, just one day after its best increase ever. So plummeting 350, billion in 24 hours?
Yeah, I mean, so just look at Bitcoin's chart. I've never seen like an up and down, like straight up pump and dump looking, line/candle pattern.
Yeah.
Like ever, I don't think, since I've been like watching Bitcoin. I think these might have happened in like the 2018, 2019 days when like BitMEX was around and like the, perpetuals and options were starting to hit the market for the first time.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden, like Bitcoin was very susceptible to market manipulation like that. And I do remember seeing like these sharp moves, maybe not in like day to day,
right.
time frames, but yeah. So this is definitely unusual, right?
Yeah. So this is March 2nd here, right? 85. All of a sudden, that tweet comes out, or really Truth Social. What are those things? Like tweets at Truth Social?
They're truths. Will.
Yeah. They're truths.
The only truths on Truth Social, dude.
Okay, so the truth comes out, right? 85. All of a sudden, we're at 95.
Yeah, that's
and then the
explosive.
next day, March 3rd, 85.
And
it's just completely erased.
Possibly back on our way down to that healthy leg into the blue territory. Possibly. I don't know. But yeah, this is definitely like pretty volatile for Bitcoin. Something as, you consider like the major of the market, right?
Yeah.
So it's shocking, but nonetheless, it's happening, right?
Yeah, so what is the truth here? Well, the truth is Donald Trump says, here's the crypto reserve. We're going to include XRP, Solana, and Cardano. and I'll make sure the U.S. crypto capital of the world. We're making America great again. And then, I guess an hour later, he was like, "Oh, and obviously Bitcoin and ETH are valuable cryptocurrencies. We're going to be holding those in the reserve as well."
Amazing how Bitcoin and ETH came like as a secondary, like
an afterthought
tag on tweet.
It's like, oops.
Yeah, for a second I thought ETH was completely like
forgotten.
But then I remembered his kids own like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of ETH. So
yeah, speaking of kids, we got that tweet here by Eric. It says, I love the genius of announcing strategic reserves on a Sunday when traditional markets are closed and Wall Street sleeps. For the first time retail investors win, traditional finance better catch up or it will quickly become extinct. Wow. I don't think the traditional finance was ever going to break the 9 to 5 schedule.
No. Yeah, but so he's kind of like promoting crypto as this like new beacon
for retail,
like a real market, right? While you like lazy Wall Streeters are, enjoying your cocktails on a Sunday evening. Yeah. We're here ushering in a financial paradigm with a strategic reserve. Right?
Yeah, and I saw this like once it was like first, I guess, mentioned on Twitter because I'm not on Truth Social. Mm-hmm. But I thought this could have been like a fabricated, message or whatever, but turned out to be true. And then I saw the candle go from 85 to like 93 in like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so this is it. This is the big strategic reserve, I guess. I don't know if this is an official announcement or not. It's just like a tweet.
Yeah. They might be working on making it official.
Yeah. But still, this definitely takes the air out of that like prediction, right? Where it's like, yeah, we might have a sideways market for a few months. Maybe we get closer to that regulatory clarity, like mid-year. That's targeted. Maybe we'll have like a real official statement from like a Bitcoin reserve perspective that can like recatalyze interest in the market.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the ETF like speculation days. Mm-hmm. There was an ETF speculation for like 2 years straight, and then all of a sudden it's like ETF is like imminent.
Yeah. And
then nothing happens, and then right before the happening, it actually broke all-time highs, right? Mm-hmm. 75,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so we might see this as like all of a sudden, all of these like cryptocurrencies are part of the reserve, and then it's going to take 2-3 months before it actually explodes for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, nonetheless, expect more chop. Wow, corruption. Mixed reactions to this, right?
Yeah, it says Trump's billionaire crypto czar is heavily invested in a fund where the top 5 holdings are in the 5 in the U.S. crypto strategic reserve. More hours before Trump announced this, someone bought $200 million in Ethereum and Bitcoin on a 50x leverage. Yeah, and so whoever did this felt like insider trading because they did this like hours before that message came out.
I don't think that's a stretch of an imagination at this point.
Yeah, and so they ended up making like $6 to $8 million off of this leverage trade, and they closed their positions already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the suggestion here is David Sachs still holding a bunch of ownership stake in Bitwise and a bunch of like, I don't know, indicators as such. And then we have David Sachs tweet. He says, correct, I sold all my cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol prior to the start of the administration. And then he's referencing this other tweet down here is that this community note is a lie. I had 74,000 position in a Bitwise ETF, which I sold in January 22nd. I do not have any large indirect holdings. I'll provide an update on the ethics or after the ethics process ends.
So this is David Sachs. So this is our crypto czar, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, people were proclaiming that he was like doing insider trading or just, focusing on his own bags. But I mean, he's going through an ethics board and like making sure everything's like up to snuff, right?
Yikes. Yeah. So this is ugly already. This is what you didn't want to see. Is like,
yeah.
I don't know, like conspiracy tinfoil hats now coming out, and
yeah, but nonetheless, someone did do that 200 million,
of course,
leveraged purchase. So
yeah, and so David Sachs, I guess liquidating his positions prior to taking over that role, just to avoid this type of what do you call that?
Well, I think it's part of like, for example, Powell. He doesn't hold any assets of any kind. Same thing as everybody in the SEC. They're not supposed to hold any assets of any kind either.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works, right? It should work that way.
Yeah.
And then Tyler, he comes in. I have nothing against Ripple, Solana, or Cardano, but I do not think that they are suitable for a strategic reserve. Once only one digital asset in the world right now meets that bar, and the digital asset is Bitcoin.
Yeah, so of course the Winklevi guys who own like a ton of Bitcoin would.
Yeah, it's like 75,000 or whatever.
Yeah, I'd be like, only Bitcoin should experience the euphoric, pressures of government acquisition. So,
but it's not a completely incorrect sentiment either.
It's fine, but again,
didn't say anything about ETH there.
Yeah, he didn't. ETH is like perpetually faded this cycle.
Completely forgotten in all of these.
Yeah, ETH is having a rough cycle for sure, for many reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, we're hearing reports from the people who did go to ETH Denver as like, this is the worst ETH Denver ever. And if you don't know what that is,
dude, and we went to ETH Denver in peak bear like cycle, and that wasn't the worst.
Or was it 2023? 2023, I think.
Yeah, 23, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't seem that bad, other than like everything was just an L2-a-thon, which we felt was kind of sus. It's like, this is a little too much like L2 euphoria.
Yeah.
This definitely doesn't feel like a recipe for like discovering killer apps or killer use cases or things that can actually onboard real people, not just industry speculators and such. But man, so it's not just an exclusive to Ethereum problem either. Every ecosystem is really hurting here. And like this like I said, takes a lot of air out of the pathway moving forward, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Because this strategic reserve catalyst,
Yeah. I wonder what happened. Like Trump was talking about Bitcoin strategic reserve, and then all of a sudden he gets into power, and all of a sudden it's a crypto strategic reserve.
Again, I don't think remove Trump from any like actual.
Like he's not saying it. He's being puppeteered.
Somebody's poking him. Is like, there's an industry here that's like willing to support your campaign efforts and such. You just have to say the right things.
Yeah, but I think with a strategic reserve, it's a strategic reserve for a reason. Like you are putting in things that make sense, right? Because all these other ones are like corporate tokens, right?
Yeah, but I think they're slowly realizing that there's a bigger industry out there outside of just Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a whole crypto industry, that incorporates like Solana and XRP.
Okay, and so if that's the case, then you should say we're going to put the top 10 tokens in a strategic reserve. Then it's like, okay, whatever makes it up there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it introduces that fine line, right? Of like the U.S. government picking winners and losers in this market, which is something weird, right?
It is very weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. So nonetheless, so this is what's happening now, right? The market's shaky as a result of this.
But you know who isn't shaky?
Bob Bodily.
That's right. Odin.fun is not shaking. No. It says, thank you for the Odin community. Winning is only half of it. The other half is having fun. We're just getting started, and let's celebrate these key milestones.
It's in the image.
Let's see. It says 1,000 Bitcoin in 30-day volume.
37,000 users, more volume than all Runes platforms combined, which is
right.
Yeah, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, we made a video about Odin like a month or two ago. When it first launched. It was an interesting experiment, right? Like, hey, let's see if these Runes enjoyers, if you don't know what Runes are, it's the fungible token on Bitcoin. There's many different protocols, but this is one of them.
Yeah.
See if people want to trade these things on like a pump.fun-esque market environment, but leveraging ICP.
Right.
Which is its own L1 chain.
Which gives you a better experience, faster, I guess, faster transaction times.
Yeah. So it feels like you're on Solana, but you're not. You're just interfacing essentially like with its own like ecosystem environment where you could send Bitcoin to it. Now you can experience that seamless, trading. And then once you're done there, you just port it back to Bitcoin and it becomes realized at that point, right?
Right.
So
now the community is asking to say, hey, what about Dog? What about like the existing runes? Can we trade it on Odin? And so here they are, it's like trading Dog on Sol. No thanks.
Yeah,
but Dog on Odin. Here we go.
Yeah, because remember, Dog got ported to Solana like a few weeks ago or whatever. It hasn't done well since then.
Yeah.
So far, like, I mean, they were late to the show over there on Solana.
Yeah.
And I think the price has only like capitulated further since. So maybe Odin is that saving grace, potentially.
Yeah. And so Bob Bodily went on to the Ordinal show and confirmed that the external runes, as they call them, are going to be added to Odin.fun. So you can trade there.
So those are the OG runes that were minted and launched over a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Or about a year ago.
And I would imagine that
April last year. Yeah.
The community still needs to supply some liquidity here, because the whole point of a bonding curve is that you accrue like transaction fees and then use those fees to supply liquidity, so you have a liquid environment. So if you're going to bring in something like dog, it needs to be supplied with liquidity.
True. That's a good point. Yeah, so maybe again it's going to be difficult to do that because liquidity is challenging.
It's pretty scarce these days.
It's pretty scarce.
Scarce
indeed.
as Bitcoin.
Yeah, but as you can see, some of these tokens on Odin have some liquidity, specifically Odin Dog, right? That's the big boy here. I think it's one, probably like the test token or the proof of concept token that they launched. It says there 2 months ago, right? So it's done pretty well. I mean, that's a significant volume, dude.
Yeah, so the market cap on this one is not that crazy. It's 18 million.
I mean, that's pretty crazy in the context of runes. Like, there's probably maybe like 1 or 2 tokens higher than that valuation-wise.
Yeah.
But the real important thing to pay attention to is the volume.
Yeah,
like
37 million. That's a lot.
That is a lot. For only like 2 months. If you go look at the runes charts, what's been happening over like their entire lifetime, most of them haven't even done that in volume. So clearly Bob has cracked through some sort of like some surface here.
Yeah.
Right? Like the market is reacting to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that surface is called
ICP?
I guess. Yeah. ICP co-processing, whatever you want to label it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of ICP, TRAC, another one of the networks leveraging ICP, it says finalizing 7,845 transactions in 34 seconds with only 4 validators and 4 contract peers. And so you look at this video, it's like
something's fast is happening.
Yeah, something fast.
Very fast that you could barely keep your eye tracked onto it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so what's happening here? It says no contract deployment costs, validators earn TRAC. This is a BRC20 token, by the way. It says contract devs earn TRAC through transactions, synthetic contract validation, extra TRAC for validators. TAP validators get rewarded with TAP tokens, and much more.
Yeah, so that probably means nothing to a lot of people who are new to what's going on in this space, but let's see if we can break it down a little bit further to make it make sense, right?
Yeah, so let's move on here. And it says TRAC network transition begins. We're incredibly excited to share the roadmap in the next phase of the TRAC network development, TRAC 2.0. It says TRAC token upgrade, TRAC staking, token utilities, TRAC store, and more. So if we're going to share this link in the description along with all these other tabs, but in this article, it kind of breaks down the utility for launch. So TRAC 2.0 will serve as the primary currency for the transaction fees, similar to how ETH functions on Ethereum. Governance, validator node transactions. The token will be used for purchasing and selling validator nodes and TRAC store. The upcoming TRAC store is a decentralized app for TRAC 2.0 purchases. So we got a lot of action happening in the TRAC ecosystem here with the new development. I'm specifically interested in this part right here, right? Because if you can supply like a pretty good product on top of this network where transactions are fast, right? I feel like, you could create a pretty good user experience here.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we're going to have to wait and see once it's fully rolled out. But obviously, this was posted a few months ago, and within this article, it says within a few months, they're going to have an actual demonstration of how the network will function and what it means because of this network, the apps built on top of it, right? That's a pretty big transition to go from a BRC20 token, which is, the first fungible token protocol on Bitcoin, which is, it's a pretty dumb protocol, meaning like all you can issue are just tokens. They have no function, no programmability, right?
Correct.
Transitioning from that, which was like the token that kind of like brought TRAC to life, to something that's a completely independent network and is now like functioning in the same capacity as ETH, right? Where like now it's validating transactions happening on that network and such. So the complexity degree has like expanded quite significantly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like, what does that mean? The dynamics that introduces, and what are the implications as far as like Bitcoin development, right? That's obviously means something direct to us because we've been working with this team over the last year.
Yeah, and in our experience so far this cycle, it seems that people are pretty much interested in like good user experiences, and it doesn't matter if it's like Bitcoin or on L1 or L2. It doesn't matter as long as there's a liquid environment, there's participants, and you get some action. That's what people care about.
Yeah, that's what Odin at least is demonstrating today, right? Like this is typically like the the hardcore Bitcoin maxis wouldn't like see something like an app like Odin, and you wouldn't like assume them to be like receptive of it, right? Because this is like a different environment to Bitcoin, right? But it's still handling Bitcoin native assets. So there is like a reciprocation there. It does overall supply something of like interest and
it's pretty cool
value.
Because as soon as an Odin.fun token like graduates, it's a real runes token,
right?
And you can actually bridge it back to runes and access the actual underlying runes asset if you wanted to.
Yeah, so if this continues forward, so that implies a few things, right? Like Odin as a platform and the leveraging of ICP will probably be like a continued practice moving forward, right? And again, TAP is positioned with that because they've been doing this, since for over a year now or something like that. We talked about the ICP co-processing way back.
Yeah, I would say like October timeframe last year. That's when we started talking about co-processing in ICP.
Yeah,
but it was in theory for a while. But here we are, Fitzy. The future of Bitcoin is bright. I was invited to speak at Dfinity, which is ICP, during ETH Denver this week. We spoke about increasing speed of innovation within the Bitcoin DeFi space and how TAP protocol is driving it forward with the L1 co-processing model, fully decentralized smart contract for native Bitcoin assets. TAP is the only solution that provides this. So TAP is the only solution that provides like a development platform for creators to leverage this functionality, right? Okay, so and definitely make sure you follow Fitzy. He's got a bunch of videos kind of explaining his experience over at ETH Denver. And then here's the TRAC token. So it has a market cap around 6 million. And here's Tapify. So this is like the TAP token. And it doesn't say the market cap here, but fully diluted is 20 million. And you can see kind of like it started, just like most other tokens, started real high, and now it's like low, like everything else. And Bitcoin's price at the end. So that's it for us. All the links will be in the description. If you have any questions about the Bitcoin ecosystem, what's happening with the strategic reserves, and if you guys find anything you want us to talk about, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.